There is nothing more powerful in state government than the governor, unless, of course, that governor is being accused of felony counts for abusing an office. And said governor is putting together a powerful team of lawyers to prove who is in control. Welcome to the latest discourse in Texas. Rick Perry has been through the media and political machine wringer far too often to back off, and with a possible presidential run in the offing, don't think for a moment he is not examining every legal angle to make this work for him. Welcome to MidPoint. He's been practicing law for over 25 years as a criminal defense and civil attorney and host of the nationally syndicated Adam Thompson radio show. Who else? Adam Thompson. Adam, pleasure to have you on the show again, my friend.
Great to be back, Ed.
All right, Adam, you had a chance to look at this now. You've undoubtedly you've seen this. Is this as, again, from an attorney's standpoint, as ridiculous as some people would claim?
You know, in 25 years of defending people in court, they say that you can indict a ham sandwich. Well, this is a stale ham sandwich. The bread is moldy. The ham is flimsy. It's horrible. This case is a joke. If I called it frivolous, that would be insulting the word frivolous.
Then why do it? If it's that bad, if it's that badly put together, if there's no way of winning whatsoever, I mean, seriously, look, I'm asking a question that some of the answers I already know the answer to here, but really, if there's no reason to do this, you're not going to get much traction out of it.
Well, listen, he's going to be a presidential nominee in 2016. We know this is politically driven. It's the Democrats pushing this issue hard. The Democrat who indicted him, you know, is behind it. And it just, you know, it just stinks all the way around. I mean, you know, here's the case. And I wanted to bring this just to show it to the audience. It's a two pages. This is the indictment. It's flimsy. It's based on nonsensical facts. It's 2 counts, and I call the 2 counts Dumb and Dumber. That's how bad it is.
All right, now, I'm going to go ahead and bring you this another side to this, because I did a little research here, and there's a couple of people out there who claim that this is a solid lawsuit. Here's one right now who talks about the Public Integrity Unit. That's the unit that was involved that the Travis County and the DA Rosemary Lemberg was in charge of. Says they were investigating a Cancer Research and Prevention Institute, much of the money ending up in projects proposed by campaign donors and supporters of Governor Perry, and that Perry might have been the next target. They're talking about cronyism in here, and the conclusion brought by this article says, first, he used the veto to threaten a public office holder. This is abuse of the power of his office. All right, Mr. Attorney, go ahead and give us the retort.
Oh my goodness, Ed, a governor using veto power. I mean, who ever heard of such a thing? Really? You know, head of the state allowed to veto bills or laws he doesn't like. He does that. Now it's a crime. I guess every bill that goes to Obama's desk, when he starts vetoing them, I guess the Republicans are going to start to bring impeachment proceedings and formal charges against Obama. Nonsensical. What's the next point?
Okay, next point. And again, from the article in the Huffington Post, what Perry did, if true, can be politely called blackmail. And when he sent emissaries to urge Lemberg to quit even after his veto, he may have indulged in bribery. Your turn.
Oh, you mean a public official is using influence or suggestions or threats to other members that work in the government? Like President Obama, when there was the whole issue with the IRS scandal and emails disappeared, if he turns to a staff member and says, listen, you're going to get a subpoena, you better respond to that, and those of you who don't, you're either going to get suspended or fired. Same thing. He's not being charged. Why is Rick Perry? The politics behind this smell really bad, and it should be obvious. You know, the big picture here, they're saying, you know, here's a guy, he's in office, he's misappropriating over $200,000 of public funds that it's in his possession and control. First of all, that bill or law hasn't even been passed. There's no $200,000 even in his possession that he even has. So on its face, it doesn't even satisfy the statute, let alone that even if he did have it in his possession, it's within his power as governor to veto that statute. He could do it, and there's nothing illegal about it.
All right, again, from an attorney's standpoint here, and I'm going to go to the other side now. Do you not gain something of a win when you have the mugshot? The governor is going to turn himself in this evening about 5 o'clock Texas time, 6 o'clock Eastern time. They're going to have a mugshot. You and I both know that when it comes down to adjudicating any kind of a case, you love those optics, boy. If you can get that mugshot sitting in there, that does an awful lot for public perception.
You love that perp walk, bringing them down, taking them in, taking the picture. Listen, it's all about politics here. How is what you just said, him taking the picture, him being seen in that light, all the mud they'll be able to throw at him, even raising the inferences, even if not true, even if all circumstantial, hey, if you throw mud hard enough and often enough, maybe some of it sticks, and if it does, then it kills or ruins his campaign going into 2016, and the Democrats put a big check mark in their box.
How much money is going to be wasted in a case like this? Because we look at the governor, he's got a team of high-powered attorneys. Let's see, lead attorney took on BP after the Deepwater Horizon explosion. Another argued before the U.S. Supreme Court, won changes to campaign finance laws. They also have George W. Bush's former lawyer during the Florida recount. That's the one that decided the 2000 presidential election. How much money really, how much money are we talking about here, and what's the public going to be on the hook for now once that bill starts to come due, thanks to those who have decided to file a lawsuit?
Too bad there's nobody that can't veto the number of lawyers and money that's going to be spent here. You know, here's the problem. This is going to come out of the budget of the public. It's going to be because he's in office and he's allowed to have part or all of it paid because he's sitting in office at the time. So you're talking about, depending how far the prosecutors take this or the special prosecutor takes this, it could go into the millions and millions of dollars. And as bad as things are in this country and the way that money could be better used, particularly in, of all states, Texas, where there's the whole immigration border issue, don't you think the money could be better spent resolving that problem instead of trying to get Rick Perry on, hey, I vetoed something because I didn't like the bill or I didn't like the prosecutor because she caught a drunk driving charge and looked ridiculous on camera, you know, yelling belligerently at all the police force in a video that everyone saw? Come on, let's all grow up, folks.
Knowing what you know now, and again, speaking as an attorney, would you almost take a client, anybody, Rick Perry, somebody like this, sidle up and then go, look real good in the mugshots, put a nice smile on your face, wear your best suit, don't sweat it, because at the end of the day, this thing's going to backfire so badly that you want to be president in 2016, this won't make a lick of trouble for you.
You hit the nail on the head. If he was my client and came to me, I would say you stand proud, you don't show fear, you don't show that you're intimidated, and you fight. You let them know you're a fighter. This will now reflect on him. He was put to the coals. He was put to the flame. And guess what? He persevered, he fought, he didn't back down, and when he prevails, it makes him look stronger. He can deal with adversity. Remember what they say. It's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how you get up. That's what people want to see.
All right, I got a couple of minutes left here, and I'm going to take you on a spin. We're going to go from Rick Perry now, and we're going to go to what's happening in Ferguson, Missouri, because, again, we're going to have an awful lot of legalese that's going to be involved here in the next couple of months right now. From what you have seen, and again, I'm going to ask you to speak as an attorney. You don't know everything. I understand that. But from what you have seen of the evidence that is sitting out here right now, you're going to have to eventually talk to the police officer that's involved in this shooting. What would be the initial take, and how would you suggest he proceed?
Well, first of all, he hasn't made a statement yet because he has rights as an individual. He knows the potential is there for him to be accused, but he still has his obligation as an officer to fill out the paperwork associated with every incident he's involved in. So right now, he's framing, probably with union attorneys from the police department, what he's going to say and put in that police report, because everything he writes or puts in there is going to be used against him potentially later on in a trial. So if he came to me, my advice would be, you know, obviously less is more, give details, but not such specific details that it's so minute that you're creating a timeline that everything you say can be turned on you. Stick to the key big points. And the key big points here, and I think the biggest one, is what happened at the police car. We all hear that Michael Brown was a distance away, he got shot 6 times, but what happened to get the whole incident started? Supposedly there was a struggle at the police car, and according to a woman, a friend of the family that called in on the officer's behalf, a shot went out at the police car. Now, if that's true, that demonstrates there was a struggle between him and the suspect to the point that the weapon was almost grabbed and actually discharged. That would impact his state of mind as to Michael Brown as a defendant and a suspect and how to proceed from that point forward. And it's easy to find out if it's true because all they have to do is run ballistics and forensics on the car, look for the bullet hole, and if it's there, his case is going to monumentally get a strong defense. If it isn't, that'll hurt the story because that's the story that's being put out there, that a gun discharged at or in the car. So that's the key thing to me at this point. I would want to know the answer to that, and depending on the answer, push that forward to the media and the public as soon as possible.
10 seconds. Dueling autopsies. Did they help the prosecution or the defense?
At this point, I don't think they go either way. It just says that the kid was shot 6 times, where and how a bullet. Nothing really says one way or the other if he was shot from behind or the front. I think it more shows he was shot towards the front. The whole thing is how it happened, starting at the car. That's the case.
Absolutely. Adam, it is always a pleasure to have you on the show. I know one of these days we're going to get you to absolutely speak your mind and not be afraid whatsoever to be emotional. Absolutely, it will happen one of these days. Good talking to you. We'll talk to you again, Adam.
Always a pleasure, Ed.
All right. Later on this hour, Robin Williams already leaving behind a legacy of much more than laughs. After the break, the dreaded I word is being tossed around Wall Street again. This is MidPoint, where we question everything.